Do you see how these W-2s have led us all astray? I could go look at 150 parks and buy one on seller finance and no bank, no credit, and I could make 12,000. Yes, absolutely yes. You guys go get 4 or 5 RV parks, you'll never have to do another wholesale deal as long as you live. And you'll never have to have another acquisition person as long as you live either. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, let me give you guys a really good equation for success this year. Who's got notes? Okay, so let me give you guys a quick equation. Everybody have your pen and paper. Let me give you guys something. This also works for left-handed people, just so you know, okay? Bro, is this not the most New Mexico shit you've ever seen? Am I wrong? Did you guys, is this a prank? By the way, nobody is as obsessed with red and green sauce as you guys in the country, okay? Okay, so let's go through one of my businesses. And I'm gonna tell you guys your biggest problem. When you're gonna go home and you go, yeah, that's my biggest problem. This should be a big problem you should solve, okay? I have a goal this year. I currently own, wow, that's really loud. Okay, so I currently own about a dozen RV parks, but I wanna own about 50. That's crazy, I know. I want to have a big conglomerate. I want to have a CEO of just my RV park company. That's a couple years down the road, okay? Why do I like RV parks, by the way?
Managing dirt.
It's managing dirt, but they also make real money, like significant money. The average RV park that I buy is enough that anybody in this room could quit their job or retire their spouse, just one, okay? So I like them for that. So if I want to go buy more RV parks this year, I have a goal. Well, that's not going to work out. I don't even know if you guys will be able to see that. Sweet. Okay, so if I'm gonna go buy 4 RV parks this year, I also have a goal of how much they're gonna cash flow. I will not look at a park to buy it unless that park is making $12,500 per month free cash flow. Okay? Now, when I first started, would I be happy with $2,000 free cash flow? Like, oh my gosh, I'll expand and I'll do all these things. Absolutely. And I could buy 1 out of every 10 parks I looked at, I could buy one that's making $2,000 a month. But as I scale my business and I want to hire more people and I have more management teams and all of that kind of stuff, I can take on larger parks with larger purchases that also ultimately make larger cash flow, right? Okay, so I look at this as my goal. Some of you guys don't even have a goal. You're like, I just want to do deals. I don't even know what that means. I just want to do deals. Guilty? Who's guilty? Bro, not one person? Okay, now you're participating, bro? Okay, so you're not quite sure, right?
Well, I missed my goal of 10 properties at age 45, so I'm just resetting my goal.
Okay, cool, love it. 10 properties at age 45, I love that. That was a goal for you at one point, love it. Okay, so how am I gonna do this? Well, I already know, because I've been doing it, so I'll give you a little bit of an equation. This is my goal, but what's my system for doing this? Well, I know that for every park I want to buy, I need to look at 75 parks to get 1 under contract. Okay? You might want to write that down. Pace, I'm not doing RV parks. Write it down and take a look at it, and then tell yourself in 30 days, when you open up your notepad and you're at another real estate meetup with 180 people or whatever it is, you go, oh, Pace did this. Oh man, I haven't done anything. I said I was going to build a system and I haven't done it. Write it down as a good reminder for yourself. 75 parks I have to look at to get 1 contract. Now, I'm going to say this again. When I was first starting out, I didn't have to look at 75 parks to get 1 contract. Why? I kind of hinted at it earlier. I had a lower standard. I was okay with a 25 pad park that I could manage myself and make $3,000 a month, right? I now I could do those all day long, but now I'd rather sub 2 members do that. I'd rather do the bigger stuff. And I'm probably in in the 5 tiers of RV park sizes, I'm currently in tier 2. I'm gonna move to tier 3 next year, which is like 25 grand a month, okay? But right now, I won't look at it unless it makes $12,500 a month, which means I'm gonna make how much more cash flow a month by the end of the year? 50 grand. By the way, you wholesalers, get out of wholesale as fast as you possibly can. It's an endless job. Endless. It will never end. You will always be like, more, more, more. You guys go get 4 or 5 RV parks, you'll never have to do another wholesale deal as long as you live. And you'll never have to have another acquisition person as long as you live either. Wouldn't that be awesome? They're the worst. I'm one of them, I should know, okay? So 75 parks for 1 contract. I also know at that level that you usually need to get 2 contracts to get 1 deal in your portfolio, which means how many parks do I have to look at? I have to look at 150 parks to get 1 in my portfolio because 1 of them is going to cancel. Why would a deal cancel? Why do deals cancel, guys? Due diligence, which for new people here, they have no idea what that means. Give me something more specific.
Financials don't add up.
There you go. Sellers lie about the financials. We cloud on title. I got a deal in Texas right now. This is so interesting. Seller has been operating a park for 20 years. We get it under contract, go to title, pull title, title shows up. He doesn't own the park. He bought it from a guy through a quitclaim deed 20 years ago. Turns out that guy never had rights to the property in the first place. Okay, that's the first time and only time I think I'm gonna run into that, but you run into other weird things, okay? So you'll run into weird things. You'll get a contract, it'll fall out. You get another contract, it'll fall out, okay? Or here's another one. I have one in Montana I'm closing on in 2 weeks. And the one I'm closing on in Montana, we sent out a contract to the seller. The seller signs it, and I sign it. The seller's supposed to sign it the next day, and we're like right there. We spent 3 months on this deal. The broker calls us up and goes, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but we're going with another buyer. Does this happen? It happens. So what do? Do you give, gosh, dang it, that sucks, or do you keep following up? That buyer ended up not performing, and we kept following up, and they came back, we're closing on it in 2 weeks. That happens, okay? All right, cool. So I have to look at 150 parks to put 1 in my portfolio. Would you guys look at 150 parks to make $12,500 a month for the rest of your life? Or do you want to go to college for 6 years and make $8,000 a month? Do you see how these W-2s have led us all astray? I could go look at 150 parks and buy one on seller finance and no bank, no credit, and I could make 12,000. Yes, absolutely yes. Okay, so I want to do this 4 times, which means I have to look at how many parks? I have to look at 600 parks if I want to buy 4 parks this year. I have to look at 600 opportunities. Now, why are 600 of them having to be sent to me and I'm saying no to 596 of them is because, sadly, people send me stuff that are too small or too big. So it's not like all 600 of those are what I was looking for, but they are RV parks in general, okay? So you whittle it down. I probably will look at maybe 100 that will actually fit my criteria. The other 500 are in like, oh, this is a 700 pad park and it's $80 million purchase. I'm not ready for that right now. So I would just decline it, right? Okay, cool. So 600 parks in a year, divide that by what number? In weeks. I divide that by 46. Why? Does anybody actually work a full year? What happens from Thanksgiving to January 5th? Nobody freaking works. They pretend like they work. They move things around on their desk like, I'm working. Okay, so it's 46 weeks in a year that actually people work. So I divide that out and I find out that I need to look at about 15 parks per week. Does my team or me, do I want to work 7 days a week? Not on the same thing. I don't want to go crazy. So I divide that by 5. I want to just work on that 5 days a week. Could I look at 3 RV parks a day? Yes or no? Could I look at 3 RV? Is that super simple to do? How many people, if I told you, if I guaranteed you $50,000 a month net in your pocket every single month for the rest of your life, if you looked at 3 parks a day for a year, would you do that? Okay, I got the what, right? I got the what. I know what I want. I know how many I need to look at. But where are they going to come from is the next question. Okay? So then what I do is I tell my team, we have a goal. My team will then look at this and go, okay, we are going to go after brokers because brokers are freaking awesome in the RV park world. And if I have a relationship with 50 brokers, okay, I just need those brokers to send me how many opportunities a year? 50 brokers. Do you guys know how many? Literally 12. They need to send, if those 50 brokers sent me one RV park a month, I'd see all 600 parks that I need to see. So think about that. If I found the top broker in each state, okay, and I had them send me one RV park a month, would I hit my goal? I sure would, okay? What's another way I could do this? Well, if you're in the sub-2 community, you have a lot of people doing what? They're doing a lot of outreach, and they're basically trying to bird dog. I'm buying a deal right now. Who knows Eddie Marin in Arizona? You guys know Eddie Marin? A couple people. I'm buying a deal from Eddie Marin right now. He's getting an assignment fee of $150,000 on an RV park right now. He did the call, he did the negotiation, he did all that. He deserves the $150,000 assignment fee, right? So I'll buy deals from sub-2 members. By the way, people are like, I don't have 150 grand. That was your first thought. Your first thought? Who raise your hand, please? Man, you guys are really good at raising your hands here. Somebody had that thought of like, I don't have 150 grand to pay Eddie, so I'm not going to buy deals there. Guys, I will bring in financial partners. I'll raise money, and I'm no money out of pocket on all these deals if I do pay an assignment fee. So I'll look at this too, and I'll basically say, all right, I need to look at about 100 deals from sub-2 members. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do direct to seller if those numbers are not working out. Meaning if I'm not getting brokers to send me the stuff I need, then I'll ramp up direct to seller. But I'm not doing a lot of direct to seller right now. I'm just not. Like, why would I when I already have people sending me stuff? Guys, Albuquerque was incredible. 200 plus people showed up to this incredible spot. Thank you to the leaders that put this together. I was talking to a handful of people saying that nobody has ever done a meetup that big in Albuquerque. And there's a lot of members that drove 2 or 3 hours to get there because there's so many outskirt cities like Durango and other places. It was a fun meetup because so many people are able to see who else is in their backyard for the first time ever. Like, think about being a real estate investor and nobody's out here doing real estate meetups. We were the first ones. We had to drive on the Creative Nation tour to come to a meetup in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Guys, don't make us do it again, please. You guys should be doing your own meetups. See you in the next video.